Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. In this episode, we'll talk about something important: why most people never reach their goals. We all have goals, right? But why is it so hard to achieve them? Let's break it down into 3 simple chapters. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Chapter 1: No Clear Plan. Many people have goals and dreams, but they don't have a clear plan to achieve them. They say things like, I want to be rich, or I want to get fit, or I want to speak English well. These are great goals, but they're too general. If you don't know exactly what to do, how will you get there? It's like saying, I want to travel to a new city, but you don't know which road to take. Without a map or clear directions, you will get lost. Goals work the same way. To achieve them, you need a step-by-step plan. Think about this. When you want to bake a cake, you need a recipe, right? The recipe tells you what ingredients you need and how to prepare them. It tells you how long to bake the cake and at what temperature. If you follow the recipe, your cake will turn out well. But if you don't follow the recipe, the cake might not bake properly, or it might taste bad. The same idea applies to goals. A good plan is like a recipe. It guides you step by step until you reach your goal. Let's look at an example. Imagine your goal is to learn English. You can't just say, I will learn English and expect to become fluent overnight. Learning English is a big goal, so you need to break it into smaller, clear steps. You might decide to focus on improving your vocabulary, listening skills, and speaking practice. Instead of trying to do everything at once, you can make a simple plan. For example, you could start by learning 10 new words every day. Then, you can listen to an English podcast every week and write down new phrases. Finally, you can find someone to practice speaking with, even if it's for just 15 minutes a day. These small steps make the big goal feel less overwhelming. Having a clear plan helps you stay focused. Without a plan, it's easy to waste time. You might try random things, like watching English movies one day, reading a grammar book the next day, and then doing nothing for a week. This approach doesn't work because it lacks structure. A plan gives you direction and keeps you on track. It's like walking on a straight road instead of wandering in different directions. Another benefit of having a plan is that it helps you measure your progress. Let's say your goal is to improve your English speaking skills. If you decide to practice speaking for 30 minutes every day, you can see your progress after a week or a month. You might notice that you feel more confident, or you can say more sentences without stopping. This progress motivates you to keep going. On the other hand, if you don't have a plan, it's hard to know if you're improving. You might feel stuck and lose motivation. It's also important to make your plan realistic. Many people fail because they set goals that are too difficult or impossible. For example, if you say, I will learn 1,000 new English words in one day, that's not realistic. You might feel excited at first, but when you can't finish, you'll feel disappointed and want to give up. A good plan is simple and achievable. Start small and take it step by step. For example, you can learn 10 words today, 10 words tomorrow, and so on. Over time, these small steps add up and bring you closer to your goal. Planning doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Sometimes things don't go as expected. Maybe you plan to study for 1 hour every day, but one day you get busy or tired. That's okay. Don't give up just because you missed one day. The important thing is to keep going. Adjust your plan if needed, but don't stop. Success comes from consistency, not perfection. Lastly, writing down your plan can make a big difference. When you write your goals and steps on paper or type them into your phone, they feel more real. You can look at your plan every day to remind yourself of what you need to do. This keeps you focused and helps you stay committed. So, having a clear plan is the first step to reaching your goals. Without a plan, your goal is just a dream. But with a plan, your dream becomes something you can work toward every day. Remember, even the biggest goals can be achieved if you break them into small, manageable steps. Planning is your roadmap to success. Chapter 2: Lack of Consistency. One of the biggest reasons why people fail to reach their goals is a lack of consistency. At the beginning, people feel very excited and motivated. They start working toward their goals with a lot of energy. For example, if someone decides to learn English, they might study for hours every day during the first week. But after some time, they stop or slow down. Maybe they get tired, busy, or even bored. Slowly, they give up, and their goal remains unfinished. This happens to so many people. Consistency means doing something regularly, even when you don't feel motivated. It's like brushing your teeth every day. You don't skip it just because you're tired, right? Reaching a goal works the same way. If you want to see results, you have to keep going, step by step, day by day. It doesn't matter if the steps are small. What matters is that you take those steps every day. Imagine you plant a seed in the ground. To make the seed grow into a tree, you need to water it every day. You can't water it once a week or whenever you feel like it. If you skip watering the seed, it will die. The same is true for your goals. They need regular effort to grow. Even if the progress feels slow, it's still progress. Over time, your small efforts will add up to big results. Let's think about learning English. If you study for 5 hours in one day, but then do nothing for the rest of the week, it's not very helpful. Your brain needs daily practice to learn and remember. Spending just 20 or 30 minutes every day is much better than trying to do everything at once. For example, you can listen to an English podcast on the way to work, review some vocabulary before bed, or practice speaking with a friend. These small actions will help you improve over time, as long as you stay consistent. One reason people lose consistency is that they expect quick results. They think, I've been working so hard for 1 week, but I don't see any changes. But reaching a goal takes time. Think about building a house. You can't build it in one day. First, you lay the foundation. Then, you build the walls one brick at a time. Finally, you add the roof. It's a slow process, but if you keep working, the house will be finished. Goals work the same way. You have to trust the process and be patient. Another reason people stop is that they feel discouraged by mistakes or bad days. For example, let's say you're practicing speaking English, but one day, you make many mistakes. You feel embarrassed and think, I'm not good at this. So, you stop practicing. But making mistakes is normal. It's part of learning. Nobody is perfect, especially when they are just starting. Instead of giving up, use your mistakes as lessons. Remember, every successful person has failed many times. What makes them different is that they didn't quit. They kept going. Sometimes, life gets busy, and it's hard to stay consistent. Maybe you have work, school, family, or other responsibilities. But even on busy days, you can still do something small. If you don't have time to study for an hour, study for 10 minutes. If you can't listen to a full podcast, listen to just a part of it. The important thing is to keep the habit alive. Doing something is always better than doing nothing. Staying consistent also means being disciplined. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it might feel hard to stay on track, especially if you don't see results right away. But the more you practice consistency, the easier it becomes. Over time, your daily actions will turn into habits. For example, if you make it a habit to study English every morning, it will become part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. Another tip to stay consistent is to remind yourself why your goal is important. Think about why you started. Why do you want to learn English? Maybe you want to travel, get a better job, or make new friends. Keep your reason in your mind, especially on days when you feel lazy or tired. Your reason will give you the motivation to keep going, even when it's hard. Consistency is the key to success. Even if you don't see progress every day, trust that your efforts are making a difference. Think about the story of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise didn't run fast, but he kept moving forward, step by step. In the end, he reached the finish line before the hare. You can do the same with your goals. Just keep going, even if the progress feels slow. So, remember, success is not about working hard for one day or 1 week. It's about showing up every day and doing the work. Stay consistent, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Don't give up. Your goal is worth it. Chapter 3: Fear of Failure. Another big reason why people don't reach their goals is fear. Many people are afraid to fail, so they don't even try. They think, what if I try and I'm not good enough? What if I make mistakes and people laugh at me? These thoughts can feel scary, and they stop us from moving forward. Fear is like a wall standing between you and your goal. If you let it stop you, you'll never know what's on the other side of that wall. Let's think about fear for a moment. Fear is normal. Everyone feels afraid sometimes, even successful people. But here's the truth: fear is not your enemy. Fear is just a sign that you are trying something new or challenging. If you never feel fear, it might mean you're not stepping out of your comfort zone. And without stepping out of your comfort zone, you can't grow or achieve big things. When people are afraid of failure, they often think failure is something bad. But failure is not bad, it's actually a good teacher. Every time you fail, you learn something new. Imagine a baby learning to walk. The baby falls down many times, but it keeps trying. With every fall, the baby gets stronger and learns how to balance better. One day, the baby finally takes its first steps. The same thing happens with your goals. You might fail in the beginning, but if you keep trying, you will get better. For example, if your goal is to learn English, you might be afraid to speak because you think, what if I say the wrong words? What if my grammar is bad? But mistakes are part of learning. If you never speak because you're afraid of mistakes, how will you improve? Think about it this way: every mistake you make is like a brick in the wall of success. The more mistakes you make, the stronger your wall becomes. So, don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're a sign that you're learning. Sometimes, people also fear what others might think. They worry that people will judge them or laugh at them. But here's the truth: most people are not paying attention to your mistakes. They are too busy with their own lives. And even if someone does notice, it's okay. Nobody is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes. The most important thing is to focus on your own progress, not on what others think. Fear can also come from setting big goals. When a goal feels too big, it can be overwhelming. For example, if you say, I want to speak English fluently, it might feel impossible at first. The fear of failing might stop you before you even begin. The key is to focus on small steps. Instead of thinking about becoming fluent right away, think about learning a few new words today or practicing a short conversation. When you focus on small steps, the goal feels less scary and you build confidence along the way. Another way to overcome fear is to think about the worst-case scenario. Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen if I fail? In most cases, the answer is not as bad as you imagine. If you make a mistake while speaking English, will it ruin your life? No. You might feel embarrassed for a moment, but you'll move on and people will forget about it. Once you realize that failure is not the end of the world, it becomes easier to take risks. Fear can also be replaced with curiosity. Instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" try asking yourself, "What if I succeed?" Imagine how great it would feel to achieve your goal. Think about all the opportunities that will open up for you. For example, if you learn English, you might be able to travel, meet new people, or get a better job. These positive thoughts can motivate you to keep going, even when fear tries to stop you. Another important thing to remember is that failure is temporary. It's not a permanent state. Just because you fail once doesn't mean you will fail forever. Every time you fail, you get a chance to start again, but this time with more experience. Think about famous people like Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. He failed thousands of times before he succeeded. If he had given up after his first failure, we wouldn't have the light bulb today. His story shows us that failure is just a step on the path to success. It's also helpful to surround yourself with positive people who encourage you. When you have a strong support system, fear feels smaller. Share your goals with friends or family members who believe in you. They can remind you of your strengths and help you stay motivated. Sometimes, just hearing someone say, "You can do it," can make a big difference. So, how do you overcome the fear of failure? You take action, even when you're scared. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, you'll realize that the fear was mostly in your mind. Each step you take will give you more confidence. Over time, the fear will become smaller and your confidence will grow. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey to success. Every successful person has faced failure, but they didn't let it stop them. You can do the same. Believe in yourself, take small steps, and don't be afraid to fail. Each failure is a lesson that brings you closer to your goal. Fear might be strong, but you're stronger. Keep going, and you'll achieve amazing things. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this episode helps you move closer to your goals. Don't forget to share this podcast with your friends who need some motivation. See you next time.